to RMFX. Yeah, this is my first video, and what I did, I only deal with Gold USD, as you can see on my watch list. Yeah, so we are on Sunday, this Sunday of week four of August 2026, and this is my setup for week 4. I expect the price to get to this point and then drop all the way to this support level. Yeah, so expect because when you got into the lower time frames, you can see this is a trend line. We have a lot of liquidity here, so I expect this all to be swept. We also fill in this fair value gap and get to this support level and this support level here. So this was my week 3. This was my week 3 trade, my last week trade, and I can just show you a sneak peek of how I got to it. And so yeah, so on this is week 2. So I based it on what happened on week 2, and so this was simple. So my first entry was at this point and this fair value gap. But getting onto this fair value gap, let me show you in a bit, because it's like my stop loss was too large, because my stop loss is always on the low of the on the low or the high of the previous week. So yeah, let me show you. This is my entry. So this is my fair value gap, and then my entries are always at the halfway to the half at the half point of the fair value gap. So yeah, so you can see all the way from here. This was to be my stop loss to this point, guys. This is like 300 pips, because this is the low of the week 2. So this was my target. This was my point, like where my stop loss would land. This is a lot of pips, so that was not like, didn't make sense to me. So what I did, I just looked for, we have a break of structure here. On this, as you can see, this we have our low, our high low. This we have our high. We have our high here. It was broken out. So this was my entry point at this area. You see, and then the pips was like 160 pips, which is it makes sense. Yeah. So that's why I entered the market, and my target was the high of week 2. This high, as you can see, this is where my target was, and yeah, we did well. Mm, yeah. So my last week was beautiful. The week 2. Okay, this to here. So, I mean my week 3. My week 3 was awesome, because I based my trade on what happened on week 2. Yeah. So also for week 2, I can show you just a bit what happened here. So this was my entry. This is where I did my entry, but this was based on just like the support, the resistance stuff. Yeah, so this was not because my main strategy is usually either the fair value gap. If the fair value gap doesn't make sense in terms of the stop loss size, I go to the break of structure. So because here we did not have a fair value gap on the 30 minutes, because the lowest I go is 30 minutes. So what I just did, I just went to I switched to line. Then as you can see here, we have our support, which was which was broken to the downside and then broken to the upside. So when support is broken, it forms a resistance, but when it's also broken again in terms of resistance, it forms another support. So this was my entry, and my target was the high of week 1. This is week 1. Yeah, so let's watch and see what will happen as week 4 unfolds. Yeah, this is where I target. Okay, so for here, for my week 4, I'm not okay. There's no. I'm not looking into the fair value gaps or the break of structure. So what I'm thinking of is this trend line. This all from this all this part here, we have a lot of liquidity in this area, and then we have a big fair value gap on this point. Yeah, so expect my like the market will just drop to the week four will drop to clear this liquidity to fill in this fair value gap, and then for my take profit for my TP it's on this support level, this area is where target, and then I anticipate like when the market does all this, it will buy to continue to buy, but this let's say a 70% chance of buying back from this point. But for selling, I'm like 90%. Let's say 90%. Yeah, let's wait and see. And yeah, see you guys. See you on week. I think I'll upload another video on week four. Like when the market respects this structure, like this area. This is my setup here on selling. Yeah, that's when I'll upload. If not, like I'll upload for week five and tell you guys why this was not respected. But yeah, but I'm hopeful this is what will happen. So once again, welcome to RMFX. See you guys on the next one. Adios.